How are foreign countries using technology to spy on their own citizens, other countries, and private companies? A panel of experts tried to answer that question recently at York University. The workshop on media suppression was held by Osgoode Hall's Intellectual Property Club and the Nathanson Center on Transnational Human Rights. At the panel, which was held at the Schulich School of Business, two professors sat on a panel discussion called The Role of Internet Giants in Totalitarian States. Ron Deibert is a professor of political science at the University of Toronto and director of the Citizen Lab at the Munk Center for International Studies.
There is really this vast underbelly of malware and espionage that started out very much criminal in nature and is now morphing into political espionage. And I believe, in fact, that there's a very dangerous arms race in cyberspace going on today, and that's part of what I've been advocating for is for the Canadian government, for example, is to take a position around this to encourage norms of mutual restraint. But it's why the United States Department of Defense got involved with the Google attacks, and why we now have the National Security Agency and Google entering into a joint agreement, which is disturbing on multiple levels, right? You have the world's largest data mining company, essentially, and the world's most secretive intelligence agency entering into a kind of joint alliance. But that's because the attacks were more than just attacks on Gmail accounts of the human rights workers. Potentially it was a theft of source code. I've heard rumors that, in fact, the directories that Google has to set aside for compliance with law enforcement and intelligence were accessed by the hackers from within China, which would be a major breach of security.
Stefan Leman-Langlois is an associate professor of criminology at the University of Montreal's School of Criminology.
I think the internet is closing right now, and it's closing on various pressures. And this is, right now, this idea of cyber war. I believe there is a cyber war, but it's not a kind of cyber war that a lot of people in power in the United States, for instance, and the United States isn't here. I hate to take United States example when I talk in Canada, but the United States pretty much controls the internet, so it's kind of important to know. And this idea that we would lose a cyber war, and what they're thinking of course, is people hacking into SCADA controlled computers and messing up with critical infrastructure and all that stuff. This threat, this idea that this can be done, is actually leading, it's actually the source of a kind of cybersecurity that closes the internet. It closes its flexibility, it makes it single use, it makes it into an appliance. You're a computer connected to the internet in the best world, according to this vision of things, is going to look more and more like a television with cable, except you can buy stuff also by just clicking on your credit card number. And the difference between what we think of cable today and what internet, the ideal internet, according to these people, is very, very small.
Today's speakers presented a very pessimistic view of the internet. Either we can keep it open and be subject to either espionage or hacking from the foreign totalitarian governments and domestic agencies, or we can just close everything off and be more secure, and then it turns into something like a cable television service whereby, well, yeah, we can get content and we can buy stuff with credit card, but it's not as open as it used to be. Hopefully, industry and governments will be able to come up with some sort of a happy medium that will keep the internet open, yet close off some of the security holes. At York University's Schulich School of Business, this is Greg Mechbach for Network World Canada.